What's up guys, Joe Parfenuk here and welcome to my YouTube channel. So this week I'm going to get into exactly how to find the right prep center for your online arbitrage business. The common concerns about prep centers are where to find them, what are the right questions to ask, and what are the average prep center fees that we need to account for. A prep center will make or break your Amazon business, as I picked a bad one and it cost me thousands of dollars. So I don't want you to make that same mistake I did. So you're gonna wanna go ahead and listen in on this tutorial and let's get right into it. What's up guys? Welcome to the tutorial on how to find the best prep center for your online arbitrage business. So there are two places that I would recommend going to find a prep center. And first things first, you're going to want to find it in a tax-free state, because if you are paying sales tax by sending it to a non-sales tax-free state, then you are practically losing money on sales tax. The whole purpose of having an online arbitrage prep center is saving money by sending it to a sales tax-free state. These states include Montana, Delaware, Oregon, New Hampshire. Those are the main ones. So I'm going to dive into my good friend Christopher Grant's exclusive or exhaustive list on how to find a prep center. So basically, he'd give some recommendations here, but I would just be going through the ones that are in the sales tax-free states. So here's one that's Proven Prep Center, located in Oregon. And he gives some a little bit of recommendations here as far as turnaround time and what you're looking for, and then tax consequences. So there's a lot of information. And if you scroll down, then you go to the USA Prep Centers. So they have one in every single state, but for the purposes of this for online arbitrage, we're going to want to look at the sales tax-free states. So I'm going to click on just a random one in the sales tax-free state once we get to that point. So Montana's coming up. So and he also has little check boxes to show that it's tax-free. So that helps you out there as well. But I'm just going to click on one of them. But any of these could be great candidates for your next prep center. But I'm going to click on one of them and let you know some things to look out for. So let's go to Gray Fox Prep. So first things first, this is a good website. It looks pretty decent. I've seen some that have been worse than this. But honestly, with these Montana ones, the website is not really the major concern. It's mainly speaking to them and learning how they operate as a business, making sure that they're legitimate. So they do say that they are accepting clients. So that's a good sign. They might be, looking for people. And it says about us. So they do have a little about us, 2 years in business. So that's a good sign that they're not brand new. And looks like they do sell on Amazon as well, which is not really a concern. If they're running a legitimate operation, then it could be a benefit that they are selling on Amazon. I don't think they're going to steal your products or anything like that. That's kind of just a negative concern that some people might have, but I don't think that is a problem. So they have their own warehouse and they do offer Amazon prep services. So the next thing that we want to look into is the pricing. So we go to the pricing and here we go. So 175 is kind of high for Montana. Typically, it's around 125, 150. That's a good range that you're going to look for. Prices have gone up as the demand for prep centers in these tax-free states has gone up. But to me, I see that this is kind of high. But if you're doing a lot of volume, then if you can get into this 150 range, then this might be a decent option. It's good. It's really nice that they offer bulk discounts. So for me, if I was sending 2,500 units, I'd be paying $125 a unit. So that is pretty solid. So that's the first thing you want to look at is the standard units. And then this is very important here, the specialty units. So you want to look at what they charge extra, because if you don't pay attention to these extra fees, they're going to really add up. So items that require their own box. So this is like, make sure that if you're sending stuff that's like plates, fragile glass stuff, then that's going to be a hefty fee to prep. So that's one thing you want to note. And shoes here. So not all prep centers charge extra for shoes. I kind of consider this like, I would steer away if you're doing shoes, because you can find a prep center that is not going to charge you more than 5 cents extra for a rubber band to keep the box intact. So 50 cents to me seems like a lot. I wouldn't go for that if I was heavy in shoes. They do charge small, oversized, and stuff like that. So up here also it says bundle. So bundles up to 6 are 50 cents extra. You want to clarify and make sure that it's not a per unit 50 cents. Make sure it's a flat rate of 50 cents. I've had the issue with one of my prep centers. They didn't clarify that. So it really depends on the prep center, but that's one thing you might want to ask is hey, is this, if it's a pack of 3, is it 50 cents each extra unit? So it'd be $1 extra. But here we have bundle items over 6 is +1. So this pricing includes poly bags. So actually that is not too bad considering, because most prep centers, if you can get in this 150 range, it's not too bad because most prep centers will charge you a 20 cents extra fee for poly bags. So everything else here though, it doesn't include bubble wrap, but I'm guessing it's for the boxes. I'm not sure exactly. That might be another question to ask. Hey, will you bubble wrap fragile stuff for me for free? But looks like, everything that's typically included, like the labels and all that, they shouldn't be charging you extra for that, the expiration dates and everything like that. That's all typical of what's included. The good thing is they do actually include outbound shipping boxes, which that's actually a pretty solid benefit here, because sometimes my prep center personally will charge me occasionally. Usually they reuse the same boxes as long as they're pretty large, which usually, if we're ordering bulk, they don't really have a problem with that. But they do charge like $3, $4 extra. So we'll get into that with the questions here, but they do charge extra for boxes, my prep center. So that's one question to maybe ask if they don't clarify it. Hey, is there an extra charge for boxes to send out? But looks like everything is covered pretty in detail here. So not really too much of concern here. The pricing is pretty straightforward. They tell you how they do it. This is very typical. They'll send, receive, ship, process your shipments, do it all for you, access. So it does say here they do use Inventory Lab. So that's a little benefit here to make it easier for you and them. And they will make the shipment for you. That's very standard. But yeah, nothing too crazy here. They have a phone number and an email down here. So I would personally, if I were you, pick up the phone and call them, because they probably have dozens of people emailing them a week. If you want to separate yourself, you're going to have to pick up the phone. And that's the same thing with even wholesale or whatever. You have to pick up the phone in a sense. And they do have an FAQ here, so that's pretty solid. They do have some requirements. So check for an FAQ. Sometimes they will. And they also have a contact us page, which most websites will. So they said at least been selling 6 months and ability to send 400 units a month. So that's pretty typical. You're going to see kind of like an MOQ of 100 to 500 around there, which is minimum order quantity. There's no fees. Sometimes prep centers will charge like a $40 sign-up fee. So the pricing seems pretty simple and straightforward, which is pretty good. And it looks like they do have a insured, which is great. Their warehouse is insured in case something gets damaged. So that's a good thing. That was going to come up in the questions. And they have climate control. So this looks like a pretty solid prep center for Montana. You'll see some of them running it out of a house. So this is a good thing to know. They are properly insured in case something happens. Okay, so this was going to be another question as well. So they do not accept extra large items, used items, books, anything outside of Amazon shipping dates. So this was going to come up in the questions, but they let you know right here that they do not accept restricted items. They do not accept pallets or LTL. So if you're shipping there, it's going to be all small parcel. Most of these Montana prep centers do not accept pallets or LTL, so that's pretty standard. And see, they do process returns. This was going to be another question, so they're covering everything here. But this is a great website because they are very detailed, and they are showing you exactly what you need to know. So the returns, they will process your returns using a prepaid shipping label provided by you. So I'm not sure. This is another question you should probably ask though. So we're going to cover that in the questions, but to show you, we do. So do you offer returns? Yes. And then you would ask how much are it per unit. So my prep center will charge $1 per unit for every item that's returned. So that's a question to ask there. You're going to want to ask how much is it to return. If they offer free returns, that's awesome. It's a great benefit. And once a quarter, we will ship packing slips and samples to the client. So if you get samples for free, and also packing slips as well. So that's good. This is a nice little benefit there. You do have to pay for the shipping, so you can get all the samples you got from, let's say, if you order from a makeup website that gave you some samples, then that's pretty cool. They do that. They do not offer long-term storage, so if you're sending product there, you're going to have to send it out right away. That's pretty standard for Montana. Maybe some bigger states might offer, like Delaware might offer a storage fee cost if you want to hold inventory there, which I wouldn't even recommend doing that. But are you a seller? And they said, we are, but we will never snipe your products or vendors and never share your information to competitors. As long as they're a good business and operating correctly, they will not do this. It is a common concern, but usually they will not do this. I would say it's pretty low risk. And so the contact us via email or contact page. We'll schedule an introductory call to go over the process. That's great. Answer any lingering questions. So you can answer these questions here, and that will be pretty helpful for you. I will include all these links into the description of the video so you can, see these questions. But so let's see, anything else we need to cover? So that's good. They do offer an intro call, but I'm saying, maybe calling them would be a great way to just speed up the process and get you onboarded faster. So they'll walk you through everything step by step. Most people who've been doing it for a little bit already know that stuff. So typical, they will not give you the address until you are accepted as a client. And yeah, so that seems pretty standard here. That's pretty much it. This is a good website, very straightforward, very detailed. I do like that. Some of these websites you might see a little less detailed. So let's get into the questions now. Actually, before that, here is another database as well. So it's called Seller Union. I'll link it. They even have prep centers overseas, but they do have another list. If you can go through this entire list and not find a single one, then here's a list of more of them. So there's plenty of prep centers in here. I actually ended up finding my prep center from this list. Yeah, I ended up contacting one of these, and then they recommended me to another lady who started her own prep center, and that's been the prep center since I've been going. So yeah, that's another one. I will include that in the description as well. So first question I would ask is, give me an overview of your business and your experience with operating a prep center. This could have been done on the introductory call that they would have offered you, if you became a client. And MOQ, usually it's on the website, but it did say it on the website. Sometimes if it's not, this is a question I would ask. What's the minimum or amount of units that I have to send to be your client? So another thing, is there any extra costs? So if this is not very clear like it was on that website, this is a question I would ask. So if shoes are more, are poly bags more, stuff like that. And when and how do you bill your prep costs? So I don't think this was covered on that website we just went through, but you just be asking, hey, when are your billing periods? My prep center is the 1st and the 15th. They send an invoice, and how is it covered? So sometimes it's Intuit, sometimes it's PayPal. Those are pretty common ones, just to let you know what you would expect. And what's the turnaround time? Usually they'll say this on the website. Maybe something else I would cover is, say, like, does sometimes your turnaround higher during peak seasons? Like, what does your turnaround look like in Q4? That could be a question you could ask. And how do you typically handle sending shipments to Amazon for clients? Do you wait for a certain amount of items to come, or do you ship on a certain day? So typically it really depends on the person. They'll ask you this likely, but you can, bring it up. For me, I have shipping days. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they do shipments. But, if you're a smaller client, they might just do one day a week. But this is something to definitely ask them how they would structure that, because they did not cover that on the website. So what happens if your inventory gets lost in the warehouse? This was not covered on the website, I don't believe. So this is another question to ask. They are insured, so they should be able to get you your money back. But that's, something you would ask if, hey, it got delivered and it's not in the warehouse. That's something I would ask to get your money back, because that will happen occasionally. Not frequently, but sometimes. So do you offer returns if I accidentally bought the wrong item? They cover this on the website, but if they don't on another one, then I would definitely ask that. Do you integrate with any listing softwares? They did cover this on the website, but if they didn't, then ask, hey, do you use Inventory Labs? Do you have your own? Some bigger ones do have their own basically website that they can process the shipments through. And what's the best way to communicate with you or your team? So this is a pretty standard question. I don't think they covered that on the website. I personally text or call my prep center owner, but maybe it's email. Maybe once you get comfortable with them, you could give them your phone number, something like that. But typically starting out, it's email. And I also still do communicate through email. But if a problem comes up, she'll give me a call. So that's a good thing to ask. If, hey, do you give a call when something's going on, something's wrong, a shipment's not working or whatever? Can you give a call? We can work it out. So that's a common question I would definitely ask. So that's about it as far as what I would look for with the prep center, what to ask and all that stuff. I think that this is definitely a process where you should be thorough. You should give everything that you need to know, or find out everything that you need to know, because this is a big, big thing for your business. If it goes wrong, you can lose money. So you want to do your due diligence. It's very, very important. I actually lost money, a few $1,000s, by getting the wrong prep center. They were awful. Turnaround time was bad. So another recommendation as far as that is to test them out. Make sure you don't send all your units at once. Send a portion. If you're at like 1,000 units, maybe send the minimum just to see how it goes for a month, and then be like, hey, once we establish trust, we'll send more, no hesitation. So that's one thing you might want to do to try it out, see how it goes, because that would have saved me huge headaches if I had known before I sent all my units there that prep center wasn't going to work out. So just some awesome tips here, and I really hope you guys got a lot of value from this video. This is typically longer than I run videos, but it was very detailed and had to get into exactly how to find the best prep center for your online arbitrage business. So if you got value, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you guys for watching.